Well, hello friends and welcome to Hoenn. Today I want to attempt a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Alpha Sapphire using only Grass-type Pokemon. We've done a Hoenn playthrough with Grass types before, but that was in Generation 3, where things are lacking, such as good Grass-type moves, deep move pools, early access to some great TMs, things like that were severely lacking in Pokemon Emerald. Here in Alpha Sapphire, our encounters are going to be a little bit less than what we got back then. Will that make or break the run? I don't know. Let's find out. Now, you would think a professor named after a tree, Birch, would know to protect the old twig and berries. You gotta lean away from it, not into it when you're being attacked by a dog. Just saying. Now, fun fact, I was actually attacked by a dog when I was in 2nd grade, and I've got a nice little scar on my inner left thigh to prove it. Now, the obvious starter to use in a Grass-type run, of course, is the best starter, Mudkip. Kidding, we have to use the Trico, and this is a great Pokemon, despite being outshined by the Mudkip and Torchic line. I've used this in 2 other Hoenn playthroughs, and I really didn't give this Pokemon its due. In my Grass-only run of Pokemon Emerald, this Pokemon didn't make it to the Elite Four team, and when we did our starter-only run, I had the blinders on when going into the battle with Drake. Trico can learn Dragon Claw. We could have taken Drake on and it could have won the challenge, but time for redemption for this Pokemon. Now let's meet Toro the Trico with a Brave plus attack and minus speed nature. Half good, half bad. Either way, this Pokemon is going to be great. Whoa, you gotta take it easy there, buddy. That type of talk nowadays will get you canceled. From what, I don't know, but it's going to be canceled nonetheless. Just tone it down. Staying true to the original games, we cannot nickname May or Wally, so in my head I've nicknamed both of these rivals Algorithm, because we're trying to beat the Algorithm both in-game and in real life. Now, if we pay attention, we can easily defeat both Algos in-game, but the real-life Algorithm is not so easy, and I need help. I need your help. How can you help, you may ask? Well, it is very simple. You can like the video, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, you can leave a comment, and you can share this video. Those are all of the easy ways that cost nothing but a little bit of time from you to help out the channel. There of course are a couple of other things that you can do if you're feeling a little bit more generous, and that is become a channel member. Channel members get early access to these videos on Friday morning instead of Sunday afternoon. And if you go a little bit higher in the tiers, you can permanently nickname a Pokemon, which you will be seeing in upcoming runs. It's a neat little feature. Of course, none of it is required, but it is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for the continued support, and let's get back to the run. On Route 102 in the Shaking Grass, we catch a Lotad named Honda. It has a gentle plus special defense and minus defense nature, with the Teeter Dance egg move. In the Petalburg Woods, we pick up a Shroomish named Troy-built with a Lonely plus attack and minus defense nature. These are all great Pokemon. Well, now it's time to do a little bit of training and maybe even a little bit of EV training, and whilst we do this, maybe a little bit of story time? It's been a little bit since we've done this, and I cannot remember the episode that we talked about the dental anxiety that I have, but I did go to the dentist. So to break it down for those of you that don't want to go back and try to find that video, I did. I can't remember which one it was. The long and the short of it is when I was younger, about 8 or 9 years old, we went to the dentist. They numbed me up to fill a cavity, and I say numbed in quotes. I could still feel them. They numbed me up some more. Told them I could still feel it, and they said that's impossible, and they drilled it anyway. After a certain point, I did try to get away from them, to which they held me down, and they drilled that cavity, and it left a very lasting impact. To the point where I haven't been to the dentist in over 5 years. It's been even longer since I've had my teeth cleaned, and I'm going to tell you guys all the dirty parts. This is not something I'm proud of, but if you have dental anxiety, maybe my story and this conversation will help you. The reason this all transpired is when I was brushing my teeth, I noticed on one of my lower teeth, I've got a hole. I've got a cavity. It needs to be taken care of, and it's given me just a little bit of a fit. Now, trying to pick up the phone and call the dentist, I couldn't. I would just hang up. I would find excuses. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it later. Oh, I need to go take care of this. So I did what any married man will do, and I told my wife. Because I know that she will not let that stuff fly. She called immediately and scheduled me an appointment. Now, the appointment ended up being 4 days away. So for the next 4 days, I tried really hard not to think about it. And when I would think about going to the dentist, it would give me fits. I'd have little panic attacks. I just did some breathing exercises and took my mind off of it, watched YouTube, whatever I had to do just to get myself to the day of the appointment. Then when that day came around, we dealt with that. Basically dealing with each situation as they come, going through the breathing exercises and talking to people really helped me get through it. I was talking to my coworkers about it, my family about it, all of those kinds of things, and things were going pretty decent. The biggest part of all of it is I knew there was going to be work that needed to be done, and it was very embarrassing because my dental hygiene has not been great. And up until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I would brush my teeth for 20, 30 seconds, and then that was it. Now, not so much. It takes me about 10 minutes to go through the regimen each time we brush our teeth, which is twice a day, and we're not playing around, we're not playing games. When we went to the dentist, I had a very severe panic attack sitting in the parking lot before I went in. Luckily, I do know how to calm myself down, breathing exercises, telling myself over and over again that what I went through is not how a typical experience is today. The place that I went to when I was a kid, just so you guys know, it went through a couple of multi-million-dollar class action lawsuits. It was shut down. It was on the news. It's no longer a thing, and it was a very big deal. I'm not the only one that went through these kinds of things, and so I also know that a lot of other people have this anxiety as well. Once we got inside, which was a feat in and of itself, they sat me down. It was all going to be exploratory, right? X-rays, checking my teeth, seeing what we needed to do, and getting a game plan going forward. But even still, sitting in that chair getting the x-rays, I was shaking. But I kept doing. Every time they would put the thing in my mouth, they'd take an x-ray, I'd take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Remember, it's not going to be painful. There might just be some discomfort with that stuff sticking in your mouth. Come on. We can get through this. It's going to be fine. Kept going through that mantra. We got through the x-rays. Then we sat down in the dental chair, and that's where things got a little bit more difficult for me to deal with. I explained to the dental hygienist and the dentist what had gone on, why I am the way I am. Everybody was very receptive and very welcoming. We got through all of that process. I needed a deep cleaning. That was going to be the first step, and unfortunately, I've got a tooth that is going to need to be either pulled or a root canal. Side note, there's 2 teeth in the front on the lower side that if I don't take care of them and I don't start going through this regimen like I said I am, and I don't stay active, I'm going to lose them. There's about a 20% chance I still lose them, and we can reverse all that if we do as we're told. Now, we scheduled the cleaning, and I scheduled it for the next day so that I couldn't back out. It wouldn't give me enough time to psych myself out. And unfortunately, they were only going to be able to do half of my mouth, and this lady took 4 hours to do the whole bit, 2 hours on one side, 2 hours on the other. That's how bad it was. The stuff that they pulled out that was in between my teeth and gums and all that, oh my goodness. It was a real eye-opener for me to know that I have done this. I can't imagine that my breath smelled that good, and the fact that my wife has continued to kiss me for all these years is just amazing. And that is a big motivator for me, is to get that back to where it's not a turn of the head because I know, you know what I mean? When I went to go get the second round of cleaning, I was actually excited because I had explained, I got a dental hygienist who walked me through everything that they were doing. Okay, I'm going to open your mouth. I'm going to stick my hand here. We're going to check this. I'm going to poke here. If it hurts, let me know. We'll stop. Yada, yada, yada. They numbed me up for the cleaning and stuff. Went through the whole process. Very, very informative. It was very nice. Same thing when I went to go get the quote for the root canal. Everybody was real nice, real accepting. There was one person I dealt with that was kind of short and a little bit condescending in their tone. The great thing is, you just have to talk to people. I went and talked to the front desk, told them how I felt, the reasons that I have anxiety and stuff like that. It was all quickly handled. We went and dealt with a different individual, and it was a nice experience. I know that when it comes to insurance, you can't go outside of your network, but there are multiple people in that network, so if you don't feel comfortable with one, go to a different one. Talk to people, breathing exercises. It all helped me get through it to the point where I'm even kind of excited about the root canal, mostly because we can just get all of this taken care of, and then we can keep moving forward, and then at that point, it's a maintain. It took me a long time to get here, but we're here, and I just wanted to give you guys an update. Now, right before taking on Roxanne, Honda can evolve into a Lombre. I should have probably postponed this Evo until much later. Lotad can learn Energy Ball via level up at level 36, so we should have held off on this evolution, and I don't realize that until much later. Instead, we let it evolve into a Lombre, and we lead against the Geodude. We go for an Absorb turn 1, bringing Geodude down to Sturdy. We get hit with a Rock Tomb, which is perfectly fine. Roxanne burns a potion, and we can KO the Geodude with one more quad super effective Absorb. This is a nice move, keeping us healthy as we're sitting at 42 HP out of 44 as the Nose Pass comes in. Same thing, we're going to go for Teeter Dance here and then Absorbs just to stay healthy. It's just a battle of attrition. Rock Tombs do a decent amount of damage, but once the Nose Pass outspeeds, it's not going to go for Rock Tomb. So we can just heal up any damage that it does with Tackle and hoping that it hurts itself in Confusion a couple of times. Unfortunately for us, the Nose Pass doesn't really hurt itself in Confusion much, breaking through a bunch of times to get some tackles, but ultimately we stay above half health and KO this thing with a couple of Absorbs. We also had an Oranberry just in case, and 2 other Pokemon. Well, who knew that Mr. Stone was a religious man? Lord Helix in the back. All hail, Lord Helix. So, what is a potion festival? It sounds like a combination of like drinking and extracurricular activities. That's what it is, but the kids and the adults and the grandpas are doing it too? I don't know what a potion festival is. I think I want to know though. I think I want to participate. Open my mind. While heading to the next gym, we have an evolution with Toro evolving into a Grovyle. Great addition to the team. I really don't want to participate in this, please. Do I have to? What is he even doing? Really? Like, it gets faster too. Jeez. Now, of course, this isn't Pokemon Emerald, so Brawly has a Machop and a Makuhita. I think we can deal with both of these Pokemon relatively easy, leading Toro and going for Mega Drain that does over half. Getting tagged with Leer is perfectly fine because we can take out the Machop with one more Mega Drain. Now, Makuhita comes out next. We tag this thing with a Mega Drain doing over half and then get hit with a nasty knockoff. It does over half and gets rid of our Miracle Seed, so worried about a low roll without the Miracle Seed, we swap into Troy Built as the Makuhita goes for a bulk up. We're playing it overly safe here as we go for a Leech Seed, which does connect, very nice, and Makuhita hits us with another knockoff. This activates our Effect Spore, paralyzing it, so I know for sure we're going to outspeed it and we should be able to one-shot it with another Mega Drain from the health that it's at, winning us the second gym badge. What is with Team Aqua's posture? These guys have terrible, terrible posture. It looks like taking my kids to like the grocery store when they were younger. They just did not want to be there. Maybe it's me. Archie has some great posture despite the fact he's carrying around a boat anchor around his neck. You need to teach your boys. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they got a weight we don't see tucked into their shirt and it's trying to teach them, but they're all just, it's too heavy. I don't know. On Route 110, we catch an Oddish that we named Husqvarna. It has a Calm plus Special Defense and minus Attack Nature. That's perfectly fine. The Chlorophyll ability is great. Unfortunately, this Pokemon is going to be just a tad outclassed by our next encounter. First, we have a rival battle on Route 10 with Algo, though that's a little bit scary. She leads a Wailmer that I'm not too worried about, and I'd lead Honda. Unfortunately, Absorb is a base 20 power move, but with Water Gun, we can heal back every little bit of damage it's doing. It does switch up for a Whirlpool, which doesn't do much, but the chip damage after the fact is doing a decent little bit of damage. Still, we can heal it back with Absorb, so we're never in any real danger. Unfortunately, we just miss out on the KO with another Absorb, so this does give Wailmer a chance to switch things up, doing 10 damage with Rollout and then a little bit more chip with Whirlpool. So we're sitting at 44 HP as the Combuskin should come out, but instead it's the Shroomish. Interesting. We go for Teeter Dance to confuse it, and it hurts itself in Confusion. Very nice. We can go for Echoed Voice that we just learned via level up. This thing starts doing more damage the more you stack them, so we're just going to keep going for Echoed Voice. Shroomish does snap out of confusion to tag us with a Mega Drain, but we take it out with one more echoed voice. As the Combuskin comes out, I should probably switch to Water Gun, or Bubble rather, but I just stay with echoed voice as we get tagged with a Sand Attack. It does over half, and then we get hit with a Double Kick, which is random. Our berry does activate in between the double kicks, so we're sitting at 21 HP as we take it out. The battle wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. We have another evolution with Husqvarna evolving into a Gloom. Our next encounter can be found on Route 117. It's a Roselia named Steel. It has a Calm plus special defense minus attack nature with the Poison Point ability and the Egg move extrasensory. Now when I caught this Pokemon as well as the Lotad, I really didn't understand what was going on with the Shaking Grass Pokemon, but we do figure it out later. But first, we need to take on the next gym leader, Watson. Watson is typically the biggest problem in Pokemon Emerald, and his team here is a Magnemite, a Magneton, and a Voltorb, which doesn't make things that easy. But we can buy the TM for Power Up Punch in the Mauville Pokemart, and two-shot the Magnemite, healing up a Thunder Wave with a Cherry Berry. As the Magneton comes out, we're at +2 attack. Unfortunately, our attack is still low as we don't one-shot it, and we just get hit with a Magnet Bomb. I thought for sure it would go for Supersonic. Doesn't matter, we two-shot that thing. At +4, you would think as the Voltorb comes out, we'd be able to one-shot it with a Power-Up Punch, but we don't. We leave it on a very low red health as it goes for Charge, which is very annoying. Watson then goes for a Super Potion, but at +5, we still don't KO the Voltorb, leaving it as Sliver. A 6-1 takes it out, winning us the 3rd Gym Badge. During our travels, we have another evolution, Troy evolving from a Shroomish into a Breloom. Great Pokemon, but it is a glass cannon. I can smell it. I can smell it right here. What? The scent of adventure. Okay, I'm glad you clarified that. He's talking about a secret spot and smell it. This is YouTube. We should move on. I gotta hand it to Algo. Calling Team Aqua a bunch of bozos, that's a pretty bold move, especially from a group of kids. I mean, what are we really doing? We should really rethink everything at this moment. No, let's go ahead and have a Pokemon battle. Okay, sure, whatever. We get to go against the Team Aqua admin and a Team Aqua grunt. With our newest evolution on the team, this is going to be a very, very easy battle. On top of Mount Chimney, we have a battle with Archie. Maxie wanting to blow up the volcano and spew magma everywhere doesn't make as much sense as maybe cooling it down to turn it into landmass. You know what? I'm so confused at who wants to do what. None of you guys make sense. Against the Mightyena, it doesn't have Intimidate, so we can go for Power Up Punch. Then with the Swagger and a held Person Berry, we are sitting at +3 attack as we take out the Mightyena with a Mach Punch. This means that his Golbat is not going to be a problem for our team. Otherwise, things could get a little dangerous. So this was a relatively easy battle with a little forethought and a little pre-planning. Headbutt one-shots the Golbat, and really that's the end of the battle. Let's move on. Sharpedo does have rough skin, but doesn't matter. Flannery is up next, and pretty scary for my team to deal with. The reason I played Alpha Sapphire is because you get the Lotad line. In Omega Ruby, you would get the C-Dot line. So this would be a very different battle. We one-shot the Slugma with a Bubble Beam. We don't quite take out the Torkoal with a Bubble Beam, and it sets up the Sun. That's a little bit annoying, but we do survive an overheat in the Sun if it doesn't crit. Bubble Beam doesn't quite do half. We take it back into low red health with another one, and then we tank that Sun-boosted overheat on 16 HP. We risked a crit here, but we had to do what we had to do to get through this battle. Our last Pokemon is a Numel that is quad weak to Bubble Beam, and even in the Sun, we one-shot this thing. With the Go Goggles, we can grab our next encounter, the Root Fossil. Of course, we've got to revive it, but we're going to grab it nonetheless. In searching for a Cacnea, we ran into a shiny Trapinch. How cool isn't that? That's awesome. We get a non-shiny Cacnea named Cub Cadet that has a hasty plus speed minus defense nature. I'll take it. Norman and his normal types are up next, and he's got 2 Slackings, which are very, very scary. They also outspeed Troy build here. And we get tagged with a Yawn, but I came with a plan. Power Up Punch gets us to +1. It loafs around from Truant, and then Power Up Punch takes it out, getting us to +2. We fall asleep because of the yawn, but we cure off the sleep with a held Chesto Berry. We outspeed the Vigoroth, and we one-shot it with a +2 power-up punch, bringing us to +3. His last Slack King comes out, and what I thought I would do here is go for a +3 stab super effective Mach Punch to one-shot, but it doesn't. So we get hit with a nasty little chip away that does put the Slack King to sleep, which is fine. A Hyper Potion then fully heals it. We go for another Mach Punch. I guess it was a range. We did revive the Lily before the Norman battle, but the nickname Raider is in Slateport. I didn't want to backtrack, so here is Craftsman the Lily with a bashful neutral nature. Now, as mentioned previous, I did not quite understand why Honda here had Teeter Dance, which is an egg move, and then when we caught the Rosalia on Route 117, it too had an egg move in Extra Sensory. The reason for that is the Shaking Grass Pokemon. When we did our first run of Omega Ruby, I kind of breezed through the tutorial section of that. In this run, I paid a little bit more attention, but I still didn't quite understand it, so we took to Google to try to figure this out. These Shaking Grass Pokemon have a chance to have their hidden ability, better IVs, as well as egg moves. You can take it a step further with the Dex Nav, getting even better Pokemon. It's the little thing on the right here that is red with the Pikachu on it. From here, unfortunately, you can only select the Pokemon that you've caught on the route. So in a Nuzlocke scenario, it's not great because we have to catch the first encounter, but we could run around still using this to our advantage. We have been playing around with this just a little bit, but you can search for an already caught Pokemon and one will pop up, and as you move to it, it tells you, look, it has its hidden ability Leaf Guard, its first move is Natural Gift. That is great. The other thing that you can do here is you can chain these Pokemon, increasing your chance of finding a shiny. You have to KO or catch the Pokemon to do so, and we have quite a high search level, but we still haven't seen a shiny other than the Trapinch. It does work. This is just a neat way it will show us the ability. It'll show us if it has a held item as well. If the Pokemon runs away, or you get into a trainer battle, or you leave the area, it breaks your chain. There are some videos out there that says that doesn't really matter. Just keep trying. I don't know. We're just playing around with it. I know that when I found my Rosalia, it showed me that it had the Poison Barb and Extra Sensory as a move, so we caught it. It's a neat thing. I love playing around with the different features of this game. Apparently this is busted. Like, you can chain shinies quite often. I don't know. I really don't have the time to play with it too much, as I've been playing around with it for a couple of hours. And this run is going to take longer to get out than it should. I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering splendor. You know what? If Steven starts singing to me, I don't know. I don't know what I would do, to be honest with you. Let's just go. On Route 119, we catch a Tropius named Arians. It has a quiet plus special attack and minus speed nature. I'm going to be honest with you, this Pokemon is not going to be on the team for attacking purposes, but it is a great HM slave. We also have a rival battle on Route 119 against Algo. In this battle, I'm not very worried about. Absorb, unfortunately, is still a very weak move, so learning Energy Ball via level up as a Lotad would have been smart, but we would have had to have done this with a Lotad. No matter, we're going to be able to outpace the Wailmer, unless it goes to sleep. That's a little bit annoying, but we should be able to break through this with a couple of high roll absorbs. You can't get the TM for Energy Ball until post-game getting both the Mach and Acrobike in the Safari Zone. It's a little bit annoying. We can get Grass Knot, but that's not available until we get to Four Tree City. Luckily, we do knock out the Wailmer with a couple of absorbs, 3 to be exact, and then as the Shroomish comes out, I'm going to go for Uproar, but first we're going to confuse it, which it hurts itself in confusion. Locking yourself into a move like Uproar that can last for 3 to 5 turns is a little bit scary, but we're going to make do with what we can. We don't quite KO the Shroomish. A third Uproar does finally take it out, and luckily at the end of the turn, we calm down. So as the Combuskin comes out, we can fire off a rain-boosted stab super effective Surf, and that was Algo easily defeated. Just before taking on Winona, we have another evolution with Cub Cadet evolving into a Cacturne. Now, Winona's flying types are scary to deal with for our team, but we lead Craftsman against the Swellow. We also have access to the type weakening berries back on Route 123, so this should be relatively easy as the Swellow goes down to a single ancient power. Skarmory is a bit concerning, but a Bobiri Berry weakens the power of Steel Wing, and we can do a little bit of damage fishing for an Omni Boost with Ancient Power. We don't get it, so we need to swap in, hoping this thing doesn't go for Sand Attack, and it doesn't going for another Steel Wing. Should go for Aerial Ace here, but we put it to sleep with the Effect Spore, so now we can just double up on a Power-Up Punch to take out the Skarmory as it snoozes. That is very nice and very clutch. The last two Pokemon are relatively easy for us to deal with. The Pelipper has Protect and it is a little bit annoying. Aerial Ace is scary on that thing, but the Altaria in the back I'm not too worried about. We bring Craftsman back in as we take neutral damage from both flying and water type moves, but Pelipper does what it does best, going for Protect. I'm fishing for an Omni Boost here as we tank an Aerial Ace. We don't get it and we take Pelipper down to a Sliver. I know Winona's going to go for a Hyper Potion, so I opt to go for a Giga Drain to get some of our health back. Now, unfortunately for us, Pelipper uses Protect. We are outsped here and it goes for Roost, but we connect with a Giga Drain that one-shots the Pelipper. Very, very nice. This just leaves the Altaria. The Altaria does not have a flying type move. It has Earthquake, Dragon Breath, Cotton Guard, and Roost. So, we hit this thing with a Toxic to put it on a timer so it doesn't go for Roost. And then from here, we're going to fish for Omni Boost with Ancient Power, hoping to not get paralyzed from Dragon's Breath. It should never go for Earthquake against this team, so we're crossing our fingers. Dragon's Breath does not paralyze us, it never goes for Roost, it never goes for Cotton Guard, so we take it out with one more Ancient Power. With the level cap of 45, we're going to have some evolutions on the team, starting out with Toro evolving into a Sceptile. Just outside of Lily Cove on Route 121, we can pick up a Shiny Stone, and immediately use it to evolve Steel into a Roserade. Instead of waiting to get the shards, we can use the Super Training and get our hands on a Water Stone, and use that to evolve Honda from a Lombre into a Ludicolo. I forget that the Algo battle is not at the department store, it's down the stairs from the department store, so we ran straight ahead, full steam, into this battle a little bit unprepared. We tank an Aerial Ace from the Swellow very nice, even with it being a crit, and we one-shot with a Stab super effective Ancient Power. Wailord is then baited out next. I'm not really worried about what this thing can do, we just need to do some damage, and it goes for Amnesia. That's unfortunate, Giga Drain doesn't do that much afterwards, so we're going to swap and bring in Toro, since Toro is a physical attacking Pokemon. Water Spout doesn't do much on the swap in, and then we knock out the Wailord with a Leaf Blade. This is going to bait in the Blaziken, and I knew that. Our play here is to swap into Honda, tank the Blaze Kick, and take this thing out. What I didn't realize is as we swap Honda in, we take nasty damage from Blaze Kick, and had that been a crit, I'm stepping on my words there, it would have KO'd us. We outspeed in one shot with a Stab super effective Surf, and this just leaves her last Pokemon, Breloom. Pretty easy for us to deal with. We can easily swap into Steel. Steel has Extra Sensory for the Fighting type and Venoshock for the Grass type. We're going to take the Force Palm and then of course go with the Stab super effective Venoshock to one-shot. And with that, we get the last evolution on the team, Craftsman evolving into a Credilli. The posture just tells me he's not enjoying this, and a little bit of excitement may go a long way. You're just like, up. Come on, Whalmer. Do something. Put a little enthusiasm behind it, my friend, a little bit. Excuse me, what? A unique odor. He's sniffing everybody's beds. Somebody, like, look, Team Aqua's bad enough, but this guy's gotta go. The Aqua sub is a Sharpedo. That is so cool. The Magma sub was a Camerupt in the last game. This is such a great attention to detail and why I love these remakes. Now, Tate and Liza don't have their Pokemon Emerald team, as we've mentioned many times before. They just have a Soul Rock and a Lunatone, so we're going to double up on the Soul Rock, and then we'll take out the Lunatone. Or we're going to one-shot the Soul Rock with the Leaf Blade, and then of course we're going to one-shot the Lunatone with an Energy Ball because it has a very weak special defense. Never mind, Tate and Liza, was very easy. We now have to battle Archie for the last time in the game, and I'm really not worried about his team. He leads a mighty unit that doesn't have Intimidate. It doesn't matter, as we're going to one-shot with a Stab Venoshock because Roserade is such a great Pokemon. Muck is baited out next, and I'm glad. We have Extra Sensory to deal with that. We don't quite one-shot, but Gunk Shot misses. This Pokemon is very dangerous for my team to deal with, and Extra Sensory on Steel has been amazing. Crobat comes out next. We cannot survive an Acrobatics from this thing, so it is a swap into Craftsman. Craftsman survives an Acrobatics very nicely. We then survive another one, and we can fire off an Ancient Power. Doesn't one-shot, so we have to tank one more. A critical hit would have left us on 1 HP, but we take out the Crobat, and those are the biggest threats on his team gone. Sharpedo comes out. It's going to Mega Evolve, but we are going to swap into Troy, as this thing should be going for Crunch, I assume. It Mega Evolves. It does in fact go for Crunch, which activates our Effect Spore, paralyzing it, but that doesn't matter because a Power-Up Punch or a Mach Punch from Troy here is going to knock it out. Wallace is last up for the gym trainers, and he's got a team of Water-type Pokemon that we're going to very easily be able to deal with. A Giga Drain one-shots the Love Disc. I am holding the Miracle Seed instead of a Yachi Berry. Even a critical hit Ice Beam from the Melodic wouldn't take us out, and I knew that we wouldn't quite take out the Melodic, so we have to go through a Potion and then 2 Giga Drains to take this thing out. We're sitting at full health. Very, very nice. Whiscash is going to come out next. This thing is quad weak to grass, so of course it's going to be dead to a Giga Drain. His last 2 Pokemon, Celio and the Seaking that I didn't forget about this time, are going to easily go down to Giga Drains apiece. And that is the 8th and final gym member defeated, and the 8th and final gym badge in our pocket. With access to Waterfall, Dive, and Surf, it's time to backtrack for a couple of TMs before making our way through Victory Road and on to the Elite Four. I also never paid attention to the Eon Flute that you can use to get on your Latios or Latios. It'll Mega Evolve, and you can just fly it around instead of using an HM Pokemon for this. This is why I need to not speed up the entire game and use it, because now we can head back to different areas and get TMs and things that we need before making our way through Victory Road. Gotta stop mashing through the text, man. Wally's here to challenge us at the end of Victory Road, and his team isn't too bad, but his Mega Gallade at the end is a little bit scary. Quad Super Effective Ice Beam one-shots the Altaria, and out next is the Roselia. Don't know why, doesn't matter. We outspeed in one-shot with Ice Beam. That was worth the backtrack. Now he's going to bring out a Magneton, and my plan here is to swap into Toro and KO this thing with a couple of Brick Breaks. We get hit with a Discharge on the swap in, doing very minimal damage, and then we go for the aforementioned Brick Break. This thing has Sturdy, so it's not going to get KO'd no matter what, but we get tagged with a Screech, and I don't want the -2 defense. So we swap into Troy and get frozen off of a Tri-Attack. What are the odds? Okay, we'll swap in Toro, and we will get tagged with another Screech, which is exactly what I don't want to happen, so we will bring Steel in. Whether we get tagged or not, it doesn't matter. We're just going to go for the KO. We tank the Flash Cannon, and then we go for Extra Sensory. I almost clicked Venoshock, and we take out the Magneton. Delcatty is out next, and so we are going to bring Toro in as I wanted to before. I should have taught this thing Power-Up Punch, but it is what it is. We taught it Brick Break. We get hit with a Feint Attack on the swap in and can KO with a Brick Break. This activates the Cute Charm, but that doesn't matter. What I should have done here against the Gallade, instead of going for Acrobatics and no held item to KO this thing, is I should have retaught Night Slash and Mega Evolved and KO'd it with a Night Slash, but either way, we make it through the battle. And here is the team all leveled up and ready to take on the Elite Four. First up is Troy built the Breloom with Seed Bomb, Power-Up Punch, Brick Break, and Rock Slide. Toro the Sceptile with Leaf Blade, Acrobatics, X-Scissor, and Brick Break. Cub Cadet the Cacturn with Energy Ball, Dark Pulse, Spikes, and Power-Up Punch. Steel the Roserade with Shadow Ball, Giga Drain, Weather Ball, and Venoshock. These moves are subject to change. This is just what we're going in with. We of course have a handful of TMs to swap these moves around. Honda the Ludicolo with Surf, Grass Knot, Ice Beam, and Focus Blast. And last but certainly not least is Craftsman the Credilli with Energy Ball, Ancient Power, Brine, and Sludge Wave. First up for the Elite Four, of course, is going to be Sydney and his Dark types. His Mightyena does have Intimidate, but somewhere along the line I picked up a White Herb, so we cure that off and we can just start one-shotting his Pokemon with some power-up punches. He is going to do a little bit of chip damage with Fake Out, with Spiky Shield, with Aftermath. Doesn't matter, we're never dead to any of these Pokemon, it's just going to be a one-shot sweep. As a matter of fact, we could have used Cub Cadet or Toro in this battle as they can learn Power-Up Punch and Brick Break and stuff as well. I just decided to use the Stab Super Effective from Troy Built going through this battle. There's really not much to say. If you have access to fighting type moves, dark types are very, very easy. We could have swapped in Steel there or something to use like Giga Drain so we didn't take chip damage, but it is what it is. The same thing with the Cacturn. No matter, we're sitting at 99 HP as we defeat the first Elite Four member. For Phoebe's Ghost types, we had a couple of options. We could have led Steel with Shadow Ball, we could have retaught Tauros Night Slash, but instead I decided to leave Cub Cadet and Stab Super Effective Dark Pulse that one-shots the Dusclops. Dusk Noir, I don't know if I one-shotted, and it does have Fire Punch, so I have an Akaberry just in case, but we actually one-shot. Sableye is a little bit more finicky, as we don't have a Fairy-type move against it. It also has Fake Out to be a little bit annoying, and Dark Pulse is a range. We don't actually one-shot it. So after a foul play, we're sitting at 53 HP, full restore, and we one-shot this time with a Dark Pulse because it was a range. Our last two Pokemon are both Bannettes. We outspeed both of them and we can one-shot them with Dark Pulse, so we don't need to worry about swapping in. We were never in any real danger in this battle, and that is Phoebe defeated. On the surface, Glacia's team is very difficult for my Grass-type team to deal with. We could have led like Honda with Focus Blast and the Wide Lens, but then we're leaving things up to chance. This Glalie has Light Screen and knows Hail. So what we need to do is get rid of it quickly. A critical hit Power-Up Punch does just that, and then the Frostlasses come out. For Frostlass, we backtrack to Route 134 to get our hands on Rock Slide, and with the held Wide Lens, we can easily one-shot it. The second one is going to come out, and it too is going to fall to a Rock Slide. If we had not crit the first Glalie, we could have doubled up on the power-up punches and gotten to +2, but a +1 Stab Super Effective Brick Break is just enough to KO the Walrein, and her last Pokemon is another Glalie that we should easily be able to take out with a Brick Break. Unless it goes for Protect, then you just stall a turn, then we take it out with a Brick Break. Again, for Drake, we have a couple of different options. Ice Beam on Honda could have one-shot some of these Pokemon, except for the Kingdra. What we're going to do, though, is lead Toro here, go for a Power-Up Punch as Altaria goes for a Cotton Guard. We go for a second Power-Up Punch to get to +2 as it goes for an Aerial Ace. We had a Koba Berry for that, and now we should be able to one-shot this thing with a +2, never mind. We tank another Aerial Ace, and now we take it out with a Dragon Claw. I really thought that would one-shot. The rest of his team is going to go down to Dragon Claws, but we needed the +2 because the Salamance's Intimidate is going to drop us back down to +1. So we knock out the Kingdra, we knock out the first Flygon. As mentioned before, his Salamence is going to come out and tag us with Intimidate, dropping us to +1 attack. But from here, it's still an outspeed and a one-shot sweep. This is why we didn't go with Honda and Ice Beam. We just don't outspeed unless we set up the rain, and I didn't want to do all that. We've risked a couple of Pokemon thus far, but nothing is more scarier than Steven's Skarmory for my team to deal with. With a moveset of Toxic, Spikes, Steel Wing, and Aerial Ace, this thing is very dangerous. I do some chip with Energy Ball that gets a special defense drop. We couldn't two-shot this thing with Ancient Power unless we got an Omni Boost, so I wasn't trying to fish for one, but the special defense drop is really nice, putting Skarmory in healing range to burn at full restore. At this point, we can two-shot the Skarmory with Ancient Power because of the special defense drop. We don't outspeed though, so we have to tank the Steel Wing, which eats up our Babiri Berry, and we're still sitting at pretty good health. This is going to bait in the Aggron next that has Iron Tail, and rather than swapping anything into this Pokemon, I'm just going to let Craftsman go down. This was a decision that I made going into the Elite Four. I did not know how to get through this battle deathless. But we can bring in Troy at this point and we can start setting up with some power-up punches. Aggron's not going to do that much damage to us unless it goes for Iron Tail, which I don't know why it would, but it did. We risked a crit there. Ugh, no matter, we can get to +2 with a power-up punch and take out the Aggron. We need Troy at +2 to take out the next group of Pokemon. Credilli has Sludge Bomb that's super effective against our entire team, so it goes down to a Brick Break. The Claydol, I'm not really worried about this thing, but it goes down to a +2 Seed Bomb. The next Pokemon that comes out is going to be his Armaldo with X-Scissor. That would knock out most of my team, so it too goes down to a Brick Break. His last Pokemon is Metagross. This Pokemon is going to Mega Evolve, and if it goes for Bullet Punch, it could knock us out. But it doesn't, so we can get off a Seed Bomb before, unfortunately, Troy goes down. The Effect Spore does put Metagross to sleep, though, at a clutch moment. So now what we can do is bring out Toro. Now, I think an Earthquake would put this thing just in healing range, so we're going to Mega ourselves and use a Power-Up Punch. Why not? Mega versus Mega. With a Power-Up Punch, this gets us to +1 to attack, and then I think we can knock this thing out with an Earthquake, provided it stays asleep, which it does, and we can fire off the Earthquake, knocking it out. Nice. Losing Pokemon in a run is never good, but I knew coming into the Elite Four, at least against the champion, I wasn't going to be able to survive all of his Pokemon. He's got a pretty well-rounded team, a little bit difficult for grass types to deal with, but we made it through. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I did. It was very fun playing with grass types and giving them a little bit of a redemption. Sceptile is a very good Pokemon. I'll say it again. The nickname theme for this run, of course, was Lawnmower Brands. If you didn't guess that, from Troy Built and Husqvarna and all that stuff. Thought it would be a neat name theme for a grass type team. I was the lawnmower. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know the routine. Leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you've made it this far. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.